Welcome. It's your April dose of the Great British Mickey Waffle podcast. Welcome to the show that hopefully banishes those dark days of lockdown and adds a certain spring to your step and a shot in your arm of positivity. We have lots to share with you this month. So as always, let's welcome my fellow wafflers this month. We've got Jill and Peter.
Hi. Hi.
We've got Ben and Becca.
Hello.
Hi.
We've got Claire.
Hello.
And we've got Sammy.
Hi.
Hi guys, how are you all doing with the daffodils adding some colour and the first signs of spring in the air? I hope you're all right.
I haven't seen any.
Yep.
It was nice day today.
Yeah.
I haven't been outside.
I haven't seen any wild ones.
It's a bit windy, but can't really complain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's lots of daffodils around here, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, jealous.
That's just yeah, but that's just from the St. David's Day from last month, and we keep going, don't we? We keep going. Anyway, before we begin, we've got some exciting changes to share with everyone. We've got a brand new website where you can click on all the links to all of our social media channels with just one easy click. So you can check that out at www.gbmickeywaffle.com. And it also links to our monthly podcast, our middle of the month Shares a Waffle show, and to our new Wednesday night live shows, where we really do focus just on one specific topic. And that goes alongside our monthly live show, which is also on YouTube and Facebook on the third Friday of every month. There's loads happening. It's so good, though.
No wonder I'm tired.
It's so good. And I think
you signed the contract, Claire. You signed the contract.
I signed nothing.
Nothing did I, Claire?
I signed nothing.
I tell you one thing though, and I think this is another thing that when you sort of sit back and you sort of get a moment in the car and you think, oh, this podcast is coming on. But the guests that we've had on the past few months, it's just been incredible. And like last month's middle of the month show with Big Fat Panda, I've got to say, it was one of the times where I've actually been driving. I had the tears were rolling down my face. And if nobody's listened to it yet, it'll take you back to, I'm not going to even give the story away, but you'll never, I actually now want Stitch's Great Escape to return. So there's a moment just in that and John's impersonation of a young British child will have you in absolute stitches. I had the tears rolling down, and it was fabulous. And there was loads in that show, and we've got loads more coming up. That's the bit that's even more exciting. So yeah, have a look on www.gbmickeywaffle.com, and we're hoping to include lots more as well, which is even more exciting. Now, this month, we're going to start with something that has already seen 2 Wednesday shows dedicated to it, plus a visit from Disney Dan, and yet we still felt we hadn't had the chance to share all of our thoughts about Wandavision with you. So there will be low-level spoilers, but if you've not seen it yet, we just hope you'll listen. And then just go and absorb the sheer majesty of the complete series. So everyone, this is the time. We've been waiting for this, and I know fine well I've got a list as long as we are. I can't wait to actually. I really can't wait. But I'm going to stay quiet for once. Go on. Who's going to start? Who's going to start?
Well,
who's going to start us off?
If you haven't seen it, where have you been for the past couple of months?
Go and
watch it. Once you finish listening to this, go and watch it.
Even if you're not a Marvel fan, just for the spectacle of a TV show, you need to see it. It's so different from everything else that I've seen.
Do you know something, Ben? That's a really good starting point, because I'll put my hand up, and I did on one of the Wednesday shows in the chat. But I'd not really immersed myself in Marvel whatsoever. And for me, this was a starting point. And what's began as a starting point has ignited an absolute passion for what Marvel is all about. I was blown away with what I watched. It was a TV series which transcended everything that, I'm old enough to remember David Lynch's Twin Peaks. And I actually felt that I was left in the same position week after week of I wanted to see the next one in the series, and I've not watched anything on the telly since, basically since Twin Peaks, where I felt that exact sort of feeling, and it really left you on the edge week after week, and you were just you were willing Friday to come around.
Okay. I think if you are new to it, it's worth checking out YouTube, because there are some really helpful videos that just run through everything you need to know if you're a complete beginner to the whole who the heck are these people thing. And there are some really good videos that go through like all the Easter eggs and the things you may have missed afterwards. And they will give you all sorts of conspiracy theories. And I'm not going to comment on which ones turned out to be true or didn't, because that's all part of the fun.
There was a lot of them that we watch religiously every week, and probably half of the theories did not come true, or they were slightly different. But also, a lot of the theories were based on everything being wrapped up in the series. So, being Marvel being Marvel, it's going to end up in a lot of films. It's leading into.
It did in a way wrap itself up. It did wrap itself up in a way, though. It did, yeah.
It did, yeah. I was meaning like the theories that they were discussing. A lot of things, like a certain bad guy was going to arrive who...
Indeed.
It wasn't, but yeah. You never know.
But the door is always open.
Yeah. I wasn't even going to watch it. To be honest, I do like the Marvel movies, like the big ones, but I didn't really have an interest in it, and then everyone started talking about it, and it kind of piqued my interest, and I was like, okay, I have to watch it now. So I basically binged the whole series in one day.
Wow.
The day after it finished, like the last episode went on Disney Plus. The Saturday, I binged the whole series, and I really enjoyed it. It wasn't anything mega to me. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life, but it was a lot of fun, and it had a lot of heart and a lot of depth. And again, Vision and Wanda weren't characters that I was really into or gave much thought to, but by watching Wandavision, it's made me so much more interested in them as characters, and I can't wait to kind of see where they're going to turn up next.
I think you're right. I think there's a lot of sort of their characters that not many people have either warmed to in the past, or we've known that much about, that we're just sort of, it's difficult without giving spoilers of a lot of the Avengers films, but it's interesting to see just them two on their own, because we haven't really seen that with any other sort of Marvel characters, that you've just got episode after episode that are just focused on them.
And I think it's interesting that they're going to do the exact same thing again, not obviously the same plot or whatever, but take kind of two lesser known, lesser loved Marvel characters and make a season about them. So it's quite interesting to see where Marvel's kind of taking it.
Yeah, I have to admit, it's interesting that you binged it all in one go.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoyed a week gap. I know I was frustrated at the time that I got to wait a week, but it was enough time there was so much in each episode, that from Easter eggs, from theories, from just sort of actually just watching it, that it took me time to process and then work out what was going on.
Did you find yourself thinking about it all week?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did too. We were thinking about it and talking about it every day until the next Friday. It was like, come on, is it Friday yet?
See, I was quite happy with the instant gratification. So
I haven't really stopped. I'm still thinking of things that have happened in there that I can connect back to past
Previous
films and
movies.
Questions that I've got that, could that be the answer to it? And
This is what I want to know now, is like, for someone who is new into this, where's my next port of call? Where do I start to get
go back
a little bit of more depth into the MCU, but also to get the backstory even to the WandaVision sort of tale?
I would not have recommended before WandaVision to watch Ultron.
Yeah.
But now I think that if you've just watched WandaVision, that's the first film I'd go back and watch.
Yeah.
Because you'll get a lot of information, a lot of things from the series that was from.
Do you need to go back and watch Civil War for Wanda's, or not so much?
Not so much. I'd say Civil War more for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I couldn't go and watch Ultron before I watched like the first Avengers. Like I couldn't do that. It just seems like crazy to me. So I would watch the first Avengers, then Ultron, then Civil War, and then go into Infinity War as like the main ones.
And
So-
Endgame as well. So.
Yeah, obviously.
Doing Infinity War, you've got to do Endgame.
But I meant like Infinity War and Endgame, like as a package.
John, you just need to carve out about 3 weeks of your life.
Yes.
And then
Get the snacks in. Make yourself comfortable.
you've got a choice. You can
Okay.
either do it Pulp Fiction by release date, or you can do it in chronological order.
Yeah, and that's something else.
What I found frustrating about WandaVision was the occasional sort of, there wasn't a end credit scene on every episode. The further you got in, there was, which felt more like a Marvel film and a nice nod back to that. But then it just left you wanting more. And the thing is, the credits were up to 10 minutes long. So it felt like you were in the cinema.
Because you had the
credits went on a long
I just
time.
skipped them until I got to the end.
Also, you had two separate
Oh,
credits.
come on, Sammy, come on, stick
In the
with it,
beginning, you
man.
had fake credits, didn't you? For the sitcom episodes, you had the fake credits, as well as the real ones. So
I think the actual script writing throughout all of this has been absolutely immense. To actually cross-reference so many films, so many characters, to drop in for those people who, you know, like yourselves who've watched all of the Marvel stuff, to be able to do that and actually still attract people like me who's new into it and is just like completely blown away by it, is I think is really it's so cleverly done. And then actually to see the extra episode, which is not easily found on Disney Plus, because it doesn't appear on the WandaVision one, because it's under Marvel Assembles, and then it explains the story of WandaVision, and it's the characters and the people who are playing each of the characters, how they've bought into the character that they are portraying and their belief in this program. It's I don't know. That's I'm talking now, and I'm just thinking this is just something that everybody needs to go and watch. If you've not seen it, go and watch it.
The other thing you might want to go and watch is the Legends series. They're only about 5 to 10 minutes long, but they're just kind of a little backstory about the characters. So they've got Wanda and Vision, and then they've got Sam, Bucky, Zemo, and Agent Carter. Yeah. Can't remember her first name off the top of my head.
Peggy.
No, they're the other one, and great niece.
Sarah?
Oh, right.
Like I said, I can't remember her name. Someone will tell me, I'm sure. And they're kind of a quick backstory on who they are in preparation for Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Cool.
I think the most underrated scene was the scene of giving birth.
Having never done it, I can't tell you whether that's
The
accurate or not.
unfortunate
I'm
bit when
intrigued
Vision
by
is
the way.
outside.
Yeah, let's see where Peter's going.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by this as probably the only person in this that experience.
It's the fact that everything around Wanda was going a bit haywire when she was giving birth.
Okay, so as she was having contractions, the coats were changing and the lights and the rain.
And that nobody talks about that much. And I think it's a great scene. I think it's a very clever use of the two together.
Yeah, it's the water when she thinks her water's broken.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the lights come down and almost hit
Monica.
Monica.
Yeah.
And then things like that. Yeah, it's very cleverly done.
Yeah.
I
I was going to say I think my favorite line, and the line that absolutely stopped me in my tracks, and I won't go into the context much because of spoilers, is where Vision says, "What is grief if not love persevering?"
Yeah.
And I actually went and looked it up because I thought that has to be a poem or a line from Shakespeare or something, because it's just amazing. It knocked me sideways. It isn't. It's a line that was written for that show.
Yeah.
And it's just
brilliant writing, isn't it? And I think that whole episode and that the moments, the really tender moments between Vision and Wanda that you wouldn't expect, I think just gave the whole series enough heart to carry it through without it. There was action, there was humor. Some of the humor was just so clever. I've said, I think I said on the Wednesday show that the bits that I loved were really Darcy and Vision in the van together. That made me laugh so much. And Vision doing his piece to camera when he's sitting in his director's chair having a moan about everything. That just, it was brilliant. It's like break the fourth wall moment and really clever. And I think Paul Bettany played it brilliantly. But those moments that were just Wanda and Vision together, and you could see the dynamic, the love, and the fear in her eyes as to what was going on. And I just think it was really clever and incredibly well acted.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think as well, Jill, that line, I did exactly the same as you, because I had made that same assumption that it came from something Shakespearean. And I kind of think we're going to hear that line in so many different contexts.
Yeah.
And now we'll all know somebody's stolen that from Wandavision.
Yeah.
I don't think it was the only one. Yeah, I don't think it was the only one. I think there was one in the final episode, and there was some line, and I'm going to misquote it, so it won't allow anybody to have a spoiler in any way, shape, or form. It's something like, was it a body not human but made real?
Yeah,
and it's just like, how profound can you have? You're watching a TV show, and it's bombarding you with these little lines that if you listen hard enough, and I think that's possibly where. Again, I'll go back to Twin Peaks. You have to listen to every line. You have to listen to every little clue that lay upon the trail towards the end of the very last episode.
Absolutely.
And that's not lazy television in this day and age.
No, that's what I mean. It was really intelligent TV. You really had to pay attention.
Yeah.
If you went for a wee halfway through, you're stuffed because you won't know what's going on. But you had to set yourself up ready to observe. It was almost like a bit of a test, really. Did you see, the gorilla in the background moment?
Yeah.
You have to look at all the stuff that was going on and still be able to follow the story. And the way they constructed every single scene to give you so much to think about means that actually to watch it with the closed caption subtitles on was really helpful. So you could see all the stuff that you might not have heard.
I picked up on that from the Wednesday show that you guys did.
Yeah.
And I hadn't thought of it as being a way of helping. Go on, Claire, explain why.
We can't take any credit for that at all, because actually the podfather himself, Lou Mongello, suggested that. So we picked that up from Lou, and actually we watched, I think, the last 4 episodes like that. And there were things that, had we not done that, we would have completely missed. It may not have taken away from the overall experience, but we would have, those really clever things that it's almost like Imagineering, had put in there for a reason. You might not have noticed. So actually having that ability to pick up everything.
Well, what I really enjoyed was the bit where we saw Monica for the first time, where it was how the reaction was from coming out of the 5-year had gone past, and just sort of how everyone was dealing with it, what was happening, people coming out of the blip, and just thinking, what's happening? Sort of how are people dealing with people that haven't been there for 5 years?
Yeah.
The thing is, when you were talking about, especially Claire was saying, all the funny moments and the light moments, which were great and were very much needed, because at the actual core of the series is a series about pain and loss and grief. And, if you really think about it, it's a really
traumatic,
hard-hitting, traumatic series. And I think most of us, had a little cry at the last episode, and I think that was
absolutely
kind of grieving with Wanda.
Yeah. And I think that was the power.
Yeah.
Jill.
I saw an article about the different sitcom episodes mirroring the different stages of grief. And that had completely passed me by.
And it was just
all the different stages.
It just, every time I think about it, there's something else that I go, oh, that's really clever. Oh no, that was really, and it every time. I mean, still now I'm thinking about it, and what Jill's just said, I have to say, I hadn't quite twigged that. I'd recognised the different sitcoms and where they played in her life and all the different bits that we learn towards the end of the series. But actually, the bit that you just said that they're the different stages of processing grief, I hadn't twigged that at all. So now I'm going to have to go back and watch it again.
I can't take it. I read it somewhere. I can't even remember where I read it now. But yeah,
I was thinking as well. I think this, quite often you watch something like this and you're looking for like a cinematic sort of comparison to hang it on, and I was sort of, I think it must have been the Hex that sort of drew me towards sort of the Truman Show. And just the whole storyline that is within Truman, and obviously being the film it was, it's sort of not got the backstory that this has. And yet it was shot, parts of it are shot in a very similar way in some respects.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, that could actually inspire a new Truman Show if you then find out that Truman has gone and done all these different things within a different parallel universe. And you've just got, I don't know. I've got to say, it's blown me away. And I just think the whole series it requires such careful viewing, and you've got to go back and do it again. Watch it again and watch it again. Yeah. It's compulsive. And, I've got to say, my youngest son, he was in the midst of homeschooling. So it was his treat for downtime during homeschool. And I was getting texts from him. He said, "Have you seen this?" I said, "Of course I've seen it. I'm watching it every Friday. You're watching on a Tuesday."
Yeah.
And he was just getting, he's 13. He's excited to watch it as I am, as old and as grumpy as I am. And yet it just transcends age. It transcends everything. And you get so much out of it. It was just been unmissable. It really has.
Yeah, for me, Life on Mars was the other comparison.
Yeah.
It has a lot in common with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and obviously that took several series before you knew what the answer was.
And actually, I think you're right, Jill, because actually they could have, Feige and Marvel could have dragged this out over 3-4 series probably if they wanted to, but they didn't. They compressed it into 9 actually very short episodes. So I think that's it was like it's a sort of information whilst you're watching it for 22, 27 minutes, whatever it was, 37 minutes at the end. Actually, for that time, it was like your mind was being completely overwhelmed with information in every sense of the word, whether that be music, sound, colour, whatever. And actually to do it in such a short period and to bring it to a close in that just over 6 hours was incredible. Where actually I think, someone maybe a more gratuitous way would be to do it over 4 series, which would have been perfectly reasonable.
But it
or
did
even 13 episodes or an hour long or something.
But for all that, it felt balanced.
Yeah.
It felt right. Nothing was overplayed.
No.
The only frustration was when you got to the end of the show when you're thinking, oh no, I've got to wait 7 days for the next one.
Yeah.
But actually, I think if I would have given it a different, not point of view or just different, I think it was created to be consumed on a weekly basis. I think I do want to binge it because I'd be interested to see how I would process that in a different way.
I binged the first half.
Mm-hmm.
I think with a lot of streaming services, there's a lot of focus on whether you drop the episodes all in one go for you to binge, or whether it's something actually a bit like The Mandalorian and now WandaVision have followed, or do it week by week, where it just gets everyone talking about it for a longer period of time as well.
Brings you back as well.
Yeah.
I think though that's been its strength though, Ben.
Yeah.
It's that ability to talk about it, and I think I've not seen it in an awful lot of things, which is why I even sort of went back as far as I did to Twin Peaks, because you've then found people not just on social media, but also, you're meeting people at work and people are wanting to, have you watched it? Have you watched it? Yeah. And you're then involved in these strange and weird conversations that if you stood socially distanced away from somebody's listening in on you, and they're like, what on earth are they talking about? I'm missing out on something here, In
some way, it's very Dickensian. It in that Dickens was written, large amounts of Dickens novels were written for a monthly magazine.
Yeah.
But they all make sense put together. It's exactly the same with WandaVision. As Ben said, WandaVision is written in weekly increments, but you can just as easily binge watch it together, and it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
I just don't think whether my brain could cope with all of if I'm that's in a way having a few days rest, or probably
Mine
not
too.
rest because I'm too busy looking on YouTube for more theories.
All I'm going to say is that if anyone still wants to talk about it, you know where we are on social media.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
At GB Mickey Waffle. Come and
Yeah.
connect, because I can guarantee that we are more than keen to have a good old chat about it, because it's still going round our heads. So please do come find us, and we will talk WandaVision with anyone who wants to.
And the Falcon and Winter Soldier as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think as well, and I think a big thank you, Claire, and to Ben and Becca, and Disney Dan, who joined you on the other show as well. You know, I think that's just sort of even just plugging the live Wednesday show. It allowed that real deeper dive into the detail, and I've waited until now because actually I've just been in awe of how you guys have actually got the cross-referencing, because I certainly haven't, and actually, if anyone has a chance, go back and check out those old Wednesday shows on YouTube, because they will add an awful lot more to your understanding, because this sure has helped my understanding as we were watching. So a massive thank you for that, because it was a help. It was a help rather than a hindrance, which again, I could imagine even once we get further down the line, and if anyone else gets in touch, we can even do another Wednesday show to cap off the whole of the WandaVision stuff.
I could do every Wednesday about it.
WandaVision revisited.
WandaVision Wednesdays.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to talk about WandaVision again when we get to Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness next year.
Yes, I'm sure we will. Yeah.
Well, there was also something as well, and I think Jill's found this for us, and it really struck me as such an amazing bit of news, and I hope we're breaking it at exactly the right time. I really do, because I don't think a lot of other places know about it. Go on, Jill, share the news with us.
I was stunned when I saw this. Yeah. There is a bit of news from plans for this year's Halloween festivities in the town of Celebration in Osceola County. If you don't know about Celebration, it's a town that was actually originally built by the Walt Disney Company in the 1990s as a version of the idyllic American small towns so beloved by films and TV. And following WandaVision's amazing success, and obviously that draws on that TV history, the town has decided to pay tribute to the series this Halloween by painting all its buildings in black and white. Residents are being encouraged to dress up in 1950s and 1960s costumes, and lots of them are available to hire because, of course, they have regular Dapper Days in the Disney parks. There's even going to be face painters on hand to complete the vision. Local restaurants are planning themed dishes, including Wanda's famous lobster dish. And entertainment is going to include a magic show and, of course, a bunny petting zoo for the children.
Now that sounds perfect. What a way to actually round WandaVision off.
Yep.
Yeah. Jill, is that in October? So it's for Halloween?
It will be for Halloween.
Perfect. Claire,
That's
we've
good,
got
isn't
our
it?
trip planned.
There you go. Sorted.
Oh my goodness, I cannot
Absolutely
wait.
brilliant.
That's gonna be good.
So you guys are going to go and now holiday plan that.
Totally.
I'm off to go and watch the rest of WandaVision. And do you know something? I think we could waffle on about that forever. And we're not. We're going to move on. Okay. So now for regular listeners, we've actually spent a great deal of time waffling on about accommodation in the past few months. Now we've looked at on-site, off-site, the villa option too. But to add even more detail to that planning, we thought that this month, what better way of actually adding to that by discussing a subject that seems to be a waffler favourite. Yes, food. It always happens. So guys, we're going to look at, if you're eating off-site, where do we eat?
Can I just say before we start, me and Jill have never eaten off site, so
Have you got your pen and pencil and write a list?
Yeah, I was going to say, we want you to convince us to get that Uber
Yeah.
and go on site.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sell it to
Sell
us.
it to us.
I mean,
talking of McDonald's, it's different to what you get at home.
Mhm.
I know,
It's a
it's
different
bigger.
menu. It's bigger. It's
get more
better. It's
things.
cheaper.
Is it?
Just
Yeah.
it really is.
Just-
You can get I bought what was that large Coke incident.
You get
Sounds
free
interesting.
refills pretty much everywhere in America.
Yeah.
Sorry, can we just go back to the large Coke incident?
So anyway, the mediums are a pretty large size. Ben decided to get a large.
Uh-huh.
Forgetting they're refillable, so
Forgetting
I've got
it's refillable.
Oh, okay.
But this thing's about the size of my head.
the large is huge.
So is it like one of those big slurpy things that you see in films where it's
Yes.
like 2 hands to hold it?
I
and-
would
bigger.
compare it with the size of a Disney popcorn bucket.
Yes,
Have a
it's
swim in it.
Huge.
I think as well, Ben.
Oh
That's
boy,
another,
error.
it is, isn't it? Because actually, handy hint tip number one: if you're going
Don't
to buy
buy a
a
large
drink,
Coke.
if you're buying a drink in McDonald's, buy the small, buy one of them, and you can share it amongst the family. So you're actually only buying one drink. 'Cause it's free refills. You can have as much as you want, and nobody even bothers. Or they certainly didn't on our last trip, and it possibly will be different at this current moment due to COVID restrictions, etc. However, it does work, and it's one of those. It's one of those nice little trips for us. It's just on the, you sort of not eaten since a cinnamon roll in Gaston's from at 9 a.m. and you're coming out of Magic Kingdom, and it's too early to even think about what you're having for an evening meal. It's just like nip into McDonald's, and we'll split up like a happy meal between us because we really are that tight,
Fries and a coffee, fries and a Coke.
Yeah, exactly.
How
And it's
dry
just it does, and that's all it does. And or even if the kids are really lucky, they might even get the ice cream just for a sugar rush as well.
Ooh.
John splashing out.
Boil them.
Yeah.
You're just so generous, John.
That's me.
if I
That's
see-
me. You gotta take it while
They're
it's
on
going,
holiday.
kids.
They're on holiday.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna...
If I stay on International Drive, I usually stay at the Rosen Inn International, and right next door is the world's largest McDonald's.
Really?
Wow.
I can walk there in less than 5 minutes. It's great.
Oh my word.
There's quite a
And
few on
you-
International Drive as well, so there's not.
There's quite a few.
Most hotels on iDrive is near a cluster of restaurants. So
Right.
we've stayed just off iDrive a couple of times, and within like 10 minutes, there's like a Denny's and IHOP, McDonald's, the Village Inn. There's just plenty of choice. So it depends where you're staying.
There's a Red Lobster as well, I
yeah.
think.
The Village Inn is banging.
It is. Their breakfast deal was amazing as well. It's like
I do not know the Village Inn. Where is this? It's on
It's
iDrive.
Yes, near SeaWorld. Not
yeah.
far from SeaWorld.
it's quite literally opposite the DoubleTree from DoubleTree at SeaWorld.
Okay.
And it's something like 5 breakfast items for $9 or something like that. And you can literally choose any 5 from bacon and sausages to yogurts and pancakes and potatoes. Or you could the last time we went anyway. That'll fill you up till lunch. Well, fill you up to dinner.
And also for dinner options, they do a lot of pies.
Oh,
So
yeah.
all sort of sweet stuff,
Sweet
and
pies.
they have like daily offers. It was on Wednesdays. They ordered like it was buy one get one free.
See, in my head,
Yeah.
I've got a vision of pucker pies. I'm sure that's not what you mean.
Sweet
No,
pies.
sweet
Probably is, Claire. Probably
American
is.
pies.
American chocolate cream.
Okay, so sweet pies.
Sweet pies.
Okay,
Okay.
not.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, the reason that we've changed our name to Red Lobster for this item, neither of us have ever been, but I've read so much about the cheddar biscuits.
Yes.
Tell me about the cheddar biscuits. They sound amazing. But
First thing to tell you is I've got a recipe for them, so I'll send that over. But they are amazing. So obviously, biscuits in the States are not like biscuits at home. They're like a savoury, doughy scone, and they are They're made with butter and shortening, and then they're dusted or lathered in garlic butter across the top of them. So they've got cheese inside them, and then garlic butter on the top, and you get as many as you can actually physically eat, and then some to take home.
So we're going to go to Red Lobster at some point. I mean, I don't eat lobster or fish.
I know.
We did. Becca's just like, I want those cheese thingies.
We did a pickup order from the Red Lobster last time we were there because it was quite late. We didn't want to go out and eat, so we ordered online and then went and picked it up. And I made a mistake because you get Cheddar Bay biscuits with your order anyway. So I ordered a few more, thinking, well, you know, they'll last for the next couple of days. They'll be good. And then I put the wrong number in. So I ordered, rather than 4, I ordered 4 portions. And there was 6 in a portion. Oh, I had a massive bag of them. So I was like shoving them in the freezer in the villa. And we just defrosted them it was quite near the beginning of the trip.
Did they all get munched?
No, some of them went in the bin.
Oh,
bad times.
It's bad times, but you can actually buy the box of the mix in Publix as well if you're being really lazy. But I've got a copycat recipe. I'll send it over, Peter.
Cool.
It's cracking. They're very tasty.
That said, we may get a chance to actually eat at Red Lobster because there is a Red Lobster in Ikspiari in Japan, which is the Disney Springs equivalent.
Yeah.
So we may be able to eat in Red Lobster in Tokyo. In Tokyo.
Yeah,
it's funny because they are franchised all over the world. I've eaten in the Red Lobster in Dubai, weirdly.
Right.
But I have to say, compared to maybe 8-9 years ago, the Red Lobster is not as good as it used to be. It used to be our first night. Always, when you get there, we'll go to the Red Lobster, or Lobo, as we affectionately know it in our house. I don't know why. That's just what it's known as. And we would go, my brother would always have an Admiral's Feast. There was just no question. We knew exactly what we were ordering. We went in 2019, and I have to say, it might have just been the one that we went to, which is the one at Formosa Gardens. I think that it was just an array of beige fried food. Unfortunately, there really didn't feel anything fresh. It wasn't, it certainly wasn't, from my point of view, worth the money we paid. I think there is better. I think there's been a development of other restaurants that are probably better for the money these days.
Yeah.
Take about 10 years. Lobster was a great place to go, particularly for us, for Brits who don't have access to like massive shrimps and the coconut shrimp and the scallops and all of those things that we don't really have at that price point, because it isn't, it's not expensive. It's a moderate price. But I have to say, I think it's probably not as good as it used to be, or it wasn't when we went.
And I think as well, Claire, I think that's really useful to know, because I think there's quite a few different places that become well known amongst Brits because you go out and a friend of a friend has been there and they said, oh, you need to go. I think going back in time, Sizzler was the one where they did the breakfast buffet. As much as you can eat for $3, you have the lot and things like that.
$3.99, pork out for breakfast, and you don't need to eat for 3 days. Yeah,
well, you can't. You generally don't want to eat for 3 or 4 days, and it takes 3 or 4 days out of your holiday. But hey, that's another issue that I shall avoid sharing with other people as well. And thankfully, never happened to us. But I think as well, one of the best tips as well is always using sort of TripAdvisor to sort of dip into the current thinking about some of the places, because I think you're spot on. We went through a spell using Applebee's. We thought Applebee's was really good, probably about 8 years ago, and over time, due to differences in management, and I don't know. I'm not asking for an awful lot. I'm not asking for top quality food, but I expect something that the family are going to sit down and actually have a decent meal. We fell out with a manager at Applebee's one time because it was just like, it was rotten. It was just what they were serving. There wasn't enough, and just thought, do you know something? That's it. Time has come there, and we had a similar experience in a couple of different Denny's, which surprised us because Denny's had been a real sort of stock place for us, and we had really bad service initially the one on the 192.
The one just near Sherborth Road.
Near Sherborth Road. And it's got right next door, there's a beautiful IHOP, which is much more modern looking. But we stuck with Denny's, and actually we were treated appallingly. And we were treated appallingly purely because we were British.
It's really busy in there as well.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
You get huge parties of people going in, 10, 15, 20 people sat around a bunch of tables.
Yeah.
And the kitchen simply can't keep up.
Yeah.
And the wait staff are struggling, and I think that it's about who's going to come back, who's going to care if we don't serve them first. Well, actually, it's not those people who are only here on holiday for 2 weeks. No,
it's the every day one, which then leads me to IHOP, which again, over a range of different venues, has actually been pretty consistent. And actually, we've had decent service, and then you're probably going to turn around to me saying, "No, we've had rubbish service."
I feel like I'm about to go on a rant, and I
might join you, Claire.
I'm taking a deep breath because I don't want to be unreasonable. There are a couple of things for me that are frustrating when I go to some restaurants, and this isn't just about off-site restaurants. This is on property restaurants as well. Number one, I'm going to number them. I don't want to eat from a melamine plate. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I don't eat off plastic at home unless it's a barbecue, and therefore I'm not going to go and pay for a good meal or what may be a good meal and eat off a plastic plate. Thank you very much. So I expect a china plate if I'm going to be paying for a meal and it's table service. I don't think that's unreasonable. And then the second thing is, I don't like my food to be lukewarm, and I consistently found with IHOP particularly that the food comes out barely tepid. Now, that might be intentional to get you through quicker because you're going to hoof it down quickly because it's what I would refer to affectionately as stone cold. I like my food if it's going to be hot, I like it to be hot. If it's cold, be cold. Don't be somewhere in between, because it's either possibly going to make you ill if it's meant to be cold and it's warm, and it damage the flavors. You don't have a nice experience, so just make the food hot. And I don't think it's about it sitting on the hot plate ready to come out. I think it's just how it's done, and it annoys me. So
that's strange, because that's the opposite of our experience of IHOP.
Well, I'm going to come with you next time.
Yeah, please do.
Maybe we'll have to as well. Although I will
did you have cold too?
Yeah, although I will say they did do a really nice omelette.
Yeah.
But we went to the Denny's, the one by Crossroads,
and
we've been there several times on a 2-week trip. Loved it. Best Denny's we've ever been to.
I like Denny's,
but we've been to a couple of others where we've had hit and miss. But every time I went to this one, it was helped that we saw the same server each time.
I think you should have our names by the end of it.
So that helped. But also, it was just the food was hot. Everything was just it just felt right. It was.
I'm going to go to that one then. I think there's so many Denny's. I mean, they're every 20 yards, aren't they? There's a Denny's or a
or an IHOP.
Yeah.
The IHOP opposite that isn't very brilliant.
No.
There's one on iDrive.
I guess that the one on iDrive is
not
probably
too bad.
It's probably really busy, the one on iDrive, and I think that's the thing because they are franchised.
Not at 6 in the morning, it's not. First day breakfast, we must have been there about 5:30. We were the only ones.
We were there about 5:30. Typical when jet lag.
I believe America's same as over here, Claire. If it's under 63 degrees, send it back.
Well, I'm going to take my temperature probe next time.
I was going to say, is that Fahrenheit or Celsius?
Maybe that's the difference. Yeah.
And it's 63 of the
That's the bit that annoys me, Peter, is that I think if it's not hot, then it just doesn't feel right. It's not that I want to burn my mouth on it, although sometimes that would be.
I'd rather it be too hot because then you've got a little bit of time to cool down.
I don't. When the food comes to the table, I don't want to suddenly have to shovel it in within 10 seconds because it's cold. I want to be able to sit and enjoy the meal. So, Sammy's
where's the good Denny's that you were talking about? Where's the good Denny's?
It's the one that's probably been knocked down.
Crossroads, but I don't know whether it's still there.
No, it's still there.
Is it still there?
It's still there because they haven't taken.
At the moment. Yeah.
It's funny how you were talking about Ponderosa. That's where we used to go all the time for
Everyone
our
did.
breakfast.
Yeah.
Do you
yeah.
remember when
Breakfast
they?
buffet.
Do you remember when you used to go down the road and there'd be some bloke in a big pancake costume
Yes.
standing at the side of the road doing this, going, "Come to Ponderosa."
But
Do
the
you remember that?
Ponderosa we used to go to is now closed. The one on iDrive is like
They're
now
all closed. They're all closed.
Oh, are they all
Sizzler,
gone now?
Ponderosa, they're all
That's so
gone.
sad.
If
I'd
you
say
like-
I've always known it as Ponderosa.
If you're into that sort of thing, Sammy, then Golden Corral is your
Yeah, I've heard that that's like the next best. So
Mm-mm.
it'll be on the list.
So what about
Mhm.
places like Bahama? Is it Bahama Breeze?
So funny you should ask, Jill.
Yeah.
I have a list.
You're
Bahama
not
Breeze
alone.
is on-
You're not alone, Claire. I've got mine as well.
So Bahama
my head.
Breeze is on our list, and it's a restaurant which is tropical Caribbean meals, food, good bar, lovely cocktails. The empanadas are great. They've got a good array of appetizers. The coconut shrimp is very, very good. I think it's probably about the best coconut shrimp you can get around from my point of view. And they do a really good mahi tacos as well. If you like fish tacos, they're good. Price ranges main for entrees are between like $12 and $22. So they're not ridiculously expensive. You get quite a lot of food. There's enough to take home with you if you should wish. So the drinks are good. The cocktails are good value. I would say there's one which is at the bottom of iDrive, just under as you go under the I4, and if you were driving, you go under the I4 and then you turn left up the bottom end of iDrive. That one is significantly better than the one down on the 192. I've been to both, and the one on the 192, I think I've had the service hasn't been fantastic, and the bathrooms are not very nice. It's a bit smaller. It's always rammed as well, so you can, if you go sometime between 5:30 and 8, you're going to wait for 45 minutes to get a table if you're lucky. So
Okay.
the one at the bottom of iDrive tends to have slightly shorter waits.
Has anybody eaten in any restaurants in the hotels along iDrive? Is there
The
any?
one at
No.
SeaWorld, the DoubleTree by SeaWorld. It was nice. It was the day later we found the Village Inn,
No, we'd already been to the Village Inn. We would. Had we?
no,
No, we did. Village Inn was the first
breakfast.
place. Yeah, but the Village Inn was the first meal
First
we'd
food
ever
dinner.
had.
Yeah.
First meal we had.
John, you're going to tell me about
Oh,
Milledale House, aren't you?
No, I was actually I'm gonna just have a go at a place called Sweet Tomatoes or
It's
Sweet
shut down.
Sweet Tomatoes.
Gone
No,
but
now.
that's-
Doesn't exist
No,
anymore.
I know it doesn't. But actually, when you were on holiday and you were looking for something that was non-fried and it was such a different place to go and actually
Yeah.
eat healthy food,
Yeah.
and it seemed to be one of those places that it was ignored by a lot of the tourist trade and obviously ignored by the local trade. But what a selection! And like you had a range of soups, you had a range of pasta, a bit of pizza, and it had basically everything. But yeah, loads and loads of salad. And you walked in, you got a mountain of salad, and so you'd find that having eaten chips and everything fried for like at least the first 10 days of your holiday, it just offered something completely different. It was sad because actually, as a place to see that go, I actually felt that was something where I think in America there's been a massive move, certainly in the past 10 years, towards healthier eating and away from that sort of the fried sort of chips and burger chips and this chips and that, and it offered something completely different. And certainly for us looking for something that was just different. You know, it's you're looking, you get fed up eating the same. You just changed the name of the restaurant in some ways, and you just go in and eating the same stuff, and that offered something completely different, something unique in Florida as well. The other alternative, and I think this is where an awful lot of us get caught up, and we do massively, is you go out in the car for the day, and you suddenly find yourself. You're either in one of the outlet shopping malls or you're in Florida Mall, and you've suddenly got that urge to the fact that we haven't had anything to eat because we just didn't fancy it when we got up, and it's getting to like 1, 2 in the afternoon, and you then enter what is the food court, which then just offers you just the choice of goodness knows what. You know, you can eat around the world, you know, and not in an Epcot sense.
Talking of bowls, the best place we've eaten is Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
Yes. And oh my goodness, you need like an hour to read the menu.
Yeah.
It's
The
like
menu's
this,
insane.
The menu's like the
This
size of the size of cheesecake.
How many
and the
places?
portions are huge.
A spiral bound menu because it's so
Yeah.
huge, and that's not the Skinnylicious menu as well. And the portions are massive, Becca. Yeah, even the lunch portion, which is smaller than the dinner portion, is
Even
still
the
huge.
appetizers.
We've had an appetizer each and cheesecake.
And cheesecake. Couldn't eat anything else.
So we always end up taking the cheesecake to go because we can never, ever even face looking at it. So we just order it to go. And I think there's certain menu items there that are amazing. The only thing that freaks me out in Cheesecake Factory is when you look at the calories next to each of the dishes, because they changed the menu about 5 years ago and now they have to display the calories. And when you look at some of those salads, you know, you go, oh yeah, nice chicken salad, that looks great, and it's got this on it, that on it. 2,500 calories for a salad. That's not a salad. That's a heart attack on a plate.
When you look at a cheesecake, I think the Oreo one is one I normally go for. 1,750.
Yeah, for a mouthful, probably.
Yeah, and that's for half of it.
Yeah. So I think the Cheesecake Factory is the choice is just unbelievable, and how they can possibly function with a menu that large. Well, it's probably all frozen, but it is tasty. It's a bit of an addiction. When I get there, I'm just like, I need to eat this stuff. I can't stop myself.
The mozzarella sticks are really nice.
They are, and just the bread that they bring you is really nice. And the orange chicken and the pot stickers, and it's all so good.
I'm hungry now.
And we noticed the last time we were there, I think it's the napkin holders have got hidden Mickeys on them.
Yes.
That gives me a reason to go back.
We've got a picture somewhere, so we'll put it up.
Yeah.
I think as well, and I think this has become, you know, again, certainly you go to the malls and, you know, the choice is immense. The cost is minimal.
Yeah.
You know, even looking at somewhere like Five Guys, which is in, I think, the top end of iDrive's premium outlet, but is also in Florida Mall and other places along the way too. And I've got to say, I do quite enjoy a Five Guys.
Mm-hmm.
But it is absolutely
like £20 for a burger.
Oh no,
it's nice.
It's a good
in dollars and pounds, they've
different. No, Sammy, it really is.
Five Guys is proper dirty food.
Yeah, that's what a lovely way of describing it. Yeah.
But it is.
It's a proper great.
It is, though. Yeah. No, totally agree. Totally agree.
Juicy, and the bacon and the cheese, and it's just like, oh man, this is so
it
bad.
all melts
but it
together.
tastes so
And
good.
And the chips are amazing.
And then the
really,
fries,
really salty.
They're all right.
Just don't
Honestly.
think your friend had a peanut allergy.
Yeah. Yes, no, you've got a peanut allergy.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah.
But they are good.
So,
John, what's your go-to in the mall food court? Where'd you go?
Oh, see, well, it depends. You see,
Do you go around and graze on the freebies?
Well, you have to do that just as an appetizer. But what occasionally happens is between four of us, it'll get split into four separate different visits to different places. So you have, someone wants a Subway. Someone wants a Subway. Someone will want a Chinese.
Yeah.
Because they really like the Chinese meal that's there. There's obviously the Five Guys. And then someone will decide, do you know, I'm not in the mood. I just want a hot dog. And so it allows you that choice. But I think I'll come back to this. And I think, you know, what we said so far is probably not going to persuade Peter and Jill tremendously much. But what it does offer, not only is choice, but the cost when you're eating off-site is markedly lower. And it's quite a shocker when you're actually looking at what you're possibly paying at any of the parks, and even when you do come off site and you begin to realise we've not even started talking about some of the sort of the higher end part of the market. but it really does startle you as to what people are paying, locals are paying, and as long as you actually enter into that whole fact that there is occasions where you will, if you go into a restaurant, you will have to wait because that is the norm. You can't, in most cases, you can't phone ahead and book a table, so you just stand in line, you take your time, and then you get your table, and it's it's an evening out, and we've had some amazing meals and in a lot of different places. I mentioned Longhorns primarily because I prefer Longhorns to Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah, they're on my honourable mention list.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. You see, and the one thing with Longhorns is the fact that you know what you're getting. You walk in, you want a steak, you get a decent steak.
You get a steak.
You get a lovely jacket potato with it, and then you come out, and that's it. It's done. It does what it says on the tin. That's basically it. And it's a steakhouse. You're not don't go for chicken nuggets, Sammy. That's it.
Oh, I'm having chicken nuggets.
But the thing is, it is the pricing because every time we've been to the Denny's on the breakfast menu, I think it's also the same for dinner. They do a 2, 4, 6, 8 menu. It's all in dollars, so it's $2, $4, $6, $8, and for what items you want on the menu. Yeah. And I have to admit, I don't think we've ever spent, including tip, more than $30 between us.
And then you can get coupons as well.
Yeah, it's something like $4 for all you can eat pancakes at Denny's, or it used to be. It may have changed.
Yeah.
So, John, you kind of preempted one of my questions. Really, was if I wanted to go somewhere for a special occasion, say like an anniversary or a birthday or something, what's around iDrive and off-site that you'd recommend for that sort of thing?
Can I take this?
You can, Claire. You can, and I'll come back to Peter after you've had your turn because actually, I think it's not just about iDrive. There's that whole area on the 192 in particular has just the biggest range, and even up at Bury Town Centre has actually got other restaurants that are popping up.
Yeah.
It's not just concentrated on iDrive, and I think if you've got a car, the
or
opportunities. Well, that's the other one. The Uber option. I'll come back to that. Go on, Claire.
Okay, so I'm not going to any of those places. If you want something, how's it called? High end, I think, or certainly a bit more upmarket. If you're going for something special, I'm heading up. There's 2 places I would go. Sand Lake Road, which is halfway up towards Universal, and along there you will find probably one of our favourite restaurants, which is Ruth's Chris. Again, it's a steakhouse. It's a high-end steakhouse. It's very smart. It is shirt, jacket is required. Not necessarily a tie, but certainly a jacket and trousers, not shorts. And for the ladies, it's appropriate evening attire, not ball gowns, obviously, but it's certainly not park clothing.
Nice dresses.
Yeah, if you want to make the effort. They have the most incredible range of steaks. My go-to is the cowboy ribeye. It's 22-ounce ribeye bone-in. Absolutely incredible with shoestring fries, which are delicious, or the potato gratin. You're looking at between $45 and $65 per steak.
Okay.
So that, and then your sides are on top, plus your drinks. So it's not a cheap meal. But if you were going to go to what would effectively be a signature restaurant on site, you're probably going to spend about the same.
Exactly.
I think the quality of the food at Ruth's Chris, if you're looking for a good steak, I think the quality of Ruth's Chris is probably over and above the Yachtsman. They serve it on a 500-degree plate. It's the service is exceptional, but not oppressive. But you are looking at probably a 20 to 22% tip on top of your meal price because of the type of place that it is. If you like meat, then a churrascaria, so Texas to Brazil, is also great. That's up that way too. They're about $50 per person, and that's a buffet of the salads and the sauces and the sides, and then you get skewers of meat, a variety of different meats to your table. Again, it's not a park attire location from my point of view. I think it's a slightly higher end. And then there was somewhere else that I just thought of a moment ago that's completely gone out of my head. I've got it. It's the other place that I thought of is the Capitol Grill, which is down on iDrive, down towards the convention centre. So in that Point Orlando area, there's a Capitol Grill, which again, similar to Ruth's Chris, same sort of price point, has slightly wider range of entrees. Again, it's a smarter location. It's really, really nice. So I would heartily recommend any of those three if you're looking for something special.
Yeah, that's a good call. That's do you know something? I think that's that whole thing about looking for somewhere special off-site is something that's often forgotten. And I think, I don't pack a jacket. I'll put it that way. So it possibly won't make my list because there's other things to go. But I think that's exactly what people need to know. It's the fact that there are these places, the quality is exceptional, and I would say you've got to choose where you want to go. We've not even mentioned places like Olive Garden, which again,
I love Olive Garden.
which is just again is something different to eat when you're in the midst of fried food, sort of night after night, and you're looking for something a little different.
Their soup and salad deal. It's great. You get soup, salad, and breadsticks. You can have as much as you want, and their salad is incredible. And it comes, as always, with everything that you get anyway. So if you order an entree, you get the salad as well, and you get the breadsticks, which are like big, fluffy, garlicky breadsticks, and they're so good. And you can have as many of them as you want. You can even ask them to pack you some up to take home.
Yeah, and I think one time they did for lunch was the bottomless salad. So if you actually finish your salad, you get some more.
Yeah,
it's like great. Yeah. Hey, look at that. Let's have some more salad.
I think we'll hit that point during the trip. Whether it doesn't matter how long you go for, there's always a day where you think I just can't face nuggets or burgers anymore.
No more beige food.
But it's just one of those things. It's just like even if it's a different sort of food, it's just like I need something different. And I know a lot of the
we ever had that problem.
And I know a lot of in-park food, especially quick service, over the years has improved a lot, especially with Satula Canteen, Docker Bay 7, Onto Roasters, Katsura Grill. There's a lot of new ones, but it always used to be cheeseburger, nuggets, where now going off-site, there's lots of options. It doesn't matter where you go. I think there's an option for everyone.
I think both our trips, we did 5 signatures each time, so beige food wasn't really a feature for us. But
we have one Outback Steakhouse.
That
was in the airport. Through security.
And we did go to IHOP.
Oh yeah, sorry.
We did go to IHOP for breakfast one time.
We did go to an IHOP for breakfast, but that's another story completely.
I think that Outback is possibly one of the saddest places to eat.
Oh, it is.
And the food in there actually is just what you need the food at the right time. And you sit there and you're just overlooking the apron at Orlando Airport. You can see your plane there. And you're just looking at it thinking,
well, we were stuck in that airport for 6 hours. Because our plane was cancelled. Was late. There was delayed because of snow, and we literally managed to hit the Outback because it was the half hour before it closed. About 4 hours in that area with nothing open, not even Starbucks.
No, they don't stay open late.
So Outback was a saviour of ours that day.
John, if you were going to recommend one place to go, where would you choose?
I'm gonna go for the multi-use, multi-menued, multi-screened, able to cater for kids, adults, and a definite place to get an Uber to, because you, from experience, you never tend to come out there without sort of meeting people. And we've had some marvelous nights meeting sort of people that we know, friends, And again, just getting down to, was it Miller's? There's a lot of them, but we've dined in about 5 different locations, and they've all been consistently good, service-wise, food-wise, and they go to they've gone to the nth degree to either look after the kids, but also, we've gone in and asked for a particular game, particular football game on the screen, and they've made sure that in our part of the restaurant they'll put the game on the TV. They've been brilliant, and I can't speak highly enough, because actually the menu there is so reasonable that we've ended up doing whole park days, and we've come out of the parks to nip into Miller's before going to watch Fantasmic, because the options there for food were just much better, and we thought, well, we can't allow us to go all day without eating. So you come out about 4, 5 o'clock. They've got so many specials on different days. I'm not even going to plug all of them, but they cater for different things. So if you like your ribs, one day of the week's ribs. They do fish and chips on another. I think on a Friday, it's like you get so many beers for next to nothing.
Not a lot of money.
which is always a good idea, and the atmosphere is good. And I've got to say that we whenever we go to watch the Orlando City soccer, whenever we can, when we're across there, and there's another one quite close to that, at the very top of I Drive. I've been in there. There's one at Orange Lake on the 192. There's one at Champions Gate. We've been in there. There's another one we've been to quite close to Universal, and each of them, the menu's the same. It's a huge menu, and no matter what you have, it's great. And I don't know, there's something about it, because it caters for everybody, but it is so cheap that you come away thinking, that was.
You feel like you've robbed them, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, you do. That's exactly it, Claire. Yeah.
And Sammy, they do these things called zingers that are like massive chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, and they have like a bit like Chicken Guy. They have like 30 different sauces you can choose from.
Oh, nice! That sounds amazing.
And they are incredible. We're recent converts to Miller's, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We went to one in Naples 7-8 years ago. And I think we probably chose the wrong time to go. We went on a Friday, probably about 7 o'clock in the evening. That was not the time to go.
That's a big mistake.
Yeah, especially with a small child. And it was like, that doesn't feel particularly comfortable. However, I think that might have been the location. It wasn't really a vacation place, because it was the middle of summer in Naples and there's nobody there on vacation at the time other than stupid people like us. So I think the one on the 192 we've been to several times, and actually, with family who've never been, and they were just like blown away. This is incredible. The price point. Entrees are all between $11 and $18. And they're so huge, you really can share them.
Yeah.
And I know there used to be this thing about share entrees. Actually, do you know what? We get it. We cut it in half. Say, box that half. I'm going to eat this bit, and I'll take the other one home and have it tomorrow, whatever.
And actually the servers in there are actually that good that they will actually suggest, and they've done it to the kids a few times, they just turn out and say, look, you might not want the fish and chips, because there's so many of them. And our Josh would turn around, no, I do. I do.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah. You can just see it going, you're not going to believe what these guys have ordered.
Yeah. And it's actually the adults that are turning around and no, I think we'll need a box, Yeah. And they do lots and lots of different things, but the kitchens, you can see into the kitchens for anybody who's concerned about that. I like that. I like the fact that it's, they're not hiding anything away from you. No. They've got screens that have got all the orders on, so you get a rough idea as to where you are. You usually do have to wait to get a table. Now, what we've found is when we've been meeting people, it then turns the party into quite into one of those parties that sort of get an automatic sort of additional service charge on the bill. And actually, when you're paying a service charge for a big group, when you've paid next to nothing for the food, you're not complaining about it. It's not an issue. And usually, and this is probably a sad thing to admit, but usually our drinks bill costs more than the food.
Absolutely.
And it's the sign of a good night.
The beer selection, my goodness, upwards of 50, 60 different ales or beers or lagers, and they're all rated. You can read about them. They've all got their bitterness units available for you to look at. So if you're someone who likes a Bud Light, you can find something similar. If you want to go for something a bit more exciting, then you can find something that suits you. And they're quite happy if you get a beer and you don't like it, they'll take it away and bring you something else. Yeah. It's not an issue. So I think as well, Miller's is a good call.
I don't know, it just ticks all my boxes, and it also at any time of the day, it doesn't matter when you go in, they're able to cater for what you might fancy on the menu. If you go of an evening time, and Peter, this is also another one that's really worth sort of bearing in mind. We had an issue one time when we'd order an Uber, and our server wouldn't leave. She'd finished the shift, but she was aware that we were waiting on the Uber turning up, and obviously because we'd been there for quite a bit, and phone battery had died, I think, and we were just thinking, oh, we're stuffed here, And actually, she went through the whole process of getting another Uber for us.
Right. Wow.
Because she actually cared, and I just thought, something. If that was the UK, I'm not sure how many people would have gone to that.
Be locked out.
Yeah, they got kicked out. But it's when people do care about not just the job, but they care about the people that they've been serving. Yeah, we probably gave her a big tip, but actually we gave her a tip that she actually deserved for the evening.
Yeah.
And I'm more than willing to do that for a meal that is always good. And I think I mentioned it before about consistency. And if a place that you keep going to, and you go to different venues, and you're getting really good service, you're getting good food, and the price point is right, off-site eating becomes a sort of one of those things that you're sort of thinking, why would you eat on site?
Yeah.
It's for us. It works for us, and it works for us if we're in a villa. But it also works for us if we're looking for something as a bite to eat that's cheap, and it's it is. And they've got a range of different, Claire's saying, they're down in Naples as well. You just keep your eye open.
It shows food defines your holiday. For us, it really does.
Yeah, it does.
Whether it's on site or off site, it all depends on what we want that day, what park we might be in. Do we just fancy coming to the hotel in the afternoon? And when we were on a honeymoon, we were off site. So it was like we were trying Denny's, IHOP, Village Inn. We were trying whatever we come across. We didn't know anything. We hadn't done any research.
Sorry, back over.
I was going to say, it's the one thing I've missed the past couple of years, because we've been doing on-site only trips pretty much, apart from your odd day at Universal or the shopping malls. And so we haven't had the off-site dining even. And I've missed some of that food and some of those places. We might have to go back.
Yeah.
And there's loads of them. And I think, I think some people will turn around and, I'm quite partial to Taco Bell, and people will turn around and say, the rest of my family can't stand Taco Bell. But if you're in the right place at the right time, you've got the choice, and it's dead cheap. I don't know.
I need to make a mention of somewhere, because if we talk about this and I don't mention this restaurant, I will be absolutely shot down.
Yeah.
And it's when someone says, where should we eat? And you've got one place that you always say, well, actually, our favourite place is here. We had a very strange experience probably about 3 years ago when we were waiting for Fettel, the fancy parade. We were stood in our favourite spot, which is outside the door to Hall of Presidents, because you get the aircon flying out at you while you stood there waiting in Liberty Square. And we got chatting to a family couple from Louisiana or somewhere like that. Can't remember exactly. And they were saying, oh, are you here on vacation? Yeah. We did the whole, we're from England thing. And they said, oh, are you staying in the hotel? And we said, no, we've got a villa off site. And they said, oh, well, we need to tell you the best restaurant to go to. And we're like, oh, perfect. Yeah, really interested to hear. And they told me the same place that I knew we were already going to dinner that night. And that is Chewy's. So not as in Chewbacca, but as in CHUYS. It's here in my signature. So Chewy's is a place that we discovered probably about 5-6 years ago, maybe a little bit more. And we came across it by chance. There was one of these flyers in the villa that we were staying in, and I was like, oh, let's give it a go, see what it's like. And it's down the 192, and on the the menu, you will find Tex-Mex cuisine. Now, this place is quirky as you like inside. The ceiling is adorned with hubcaps and various things. You've got on a Friday night, you've got free tortilla chips and salsa, which is in the bonnet of the convertible car that you help yourself to, and they have the bar at the front is covered in photos of people's dogs. So when people have been there, they've sent a photo of their dog in afterwards, and the whole wall is just covered in little photos of dogs, and it's so cool because you can sit there and you'll be like, oh, look at that one, that one's really ugly, you know. But it's really fun. It's really funny. So the food is incredible. They have the thing that is different is they have a lady, usually sometimes a man, stood there hand rolling flour tortillas and baking them on a skillet for you. So your tortillas are freshly made in front of your face. Their queso is incredible. Their strap line is burritos as big as yo face. They have that in lights on the window. And they really are massive, but they have everything from, chicken flouters to they have tortillas. They have the traditional fajitas and burritos and enchiladas and stuff like that. They have a pudding that we now have to get to take away because you can't eat it with there because it's just tres leches cake, so 3 milks cake, and it's made with condensed milk. And oh my goodness, just get one to take away if you're full, because you will be full. And the thing for me is that it is literally dirt cheap. So for the 4 of us, 3 adults and one of them being Morgan and a child, with cocktails for one of us who isn't driving, with a shared starter, usually some chips and some queso, and some sort of starter, a kid's meal for Millie, and then 3 large adult meals and a tres leches cake to take away. Including tip, we come away with change from $80.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
I'm just thinking, Claire. I'm just thinking, can we just rewind this podcast a little bit, right? And we'll just edit out that whole segment so that anybody who thought that they listened to what you've just heard is completely erased from your mind. So the next time we all go, we can all go back there, and there won't be a queue, and it'll still be the same cheap prices. And just remember, it's not what you thought it was. Just erase that from your mind, everybody. It's gone. It's gone. Just remember.
Do you know, my friend and friend of the show, Disco Liz, who we had on for Share the Waffle, Chewy's is her favourite restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah, she loves it.
And there are very few restaurants off-site that we will go to more than once in a holiday, because there's so many that we want to go to, and then we dine on site as well. Chewy's is the one that we will do 2, sometimes even 3 times in a 2-week trip, just because it is so good and the food is incredible. They do this amazing sauce called a boom boom sauce, which I can just say it's really, really good. And they do the Elvis Presley memorial plate, which has a chicken escalope breaded in like cornflakes and crisps. And
that
stuff.
sounds amazing.
So good. Yeah, it's the whole place is fun to go to. It's clean, the service is excellent. They have some really cool merchandise as well, which they've developed their own line of merchandise and t-shirts and stuff, which is they're usually like 2 for $15. They're really cheap and they're really quirky as well. So I have to mention Chewy's, otherwise I would never forgive myself. And they are a chain. They're mainly over the south of the US, and I don't know many people who I've spoken to that know about it, which I was just ruined, but I've never ever had a bad meal there, and we've been a lot.
Okay,
Cool.
And I think that type of recommendation is what you need, and I think we've all been to different places. I think we started this whole conversation talking about sort of bad experiences, but when you have a good experience, yeah, I'm not even going there, Sammy. Sammy's pointing to a little sign that says McDonald's, and I was just like, I'm not going there, because actually there's so much quality in the whole of that Orlando area. And even if you go further afield towards Clearwater, we've been there, and you pick up some of these chains, they are as good in other places. They are reliable, and I think that's what you want as a Brit going out to the US. You want to be able to go to places and think it's going to be the same as it was the last time. And if it's not, get in touch with us. Come and tell us.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
Or if you know somewhere better than Chili's.
Yeah. Because we want to know, you know, I think it's that whole thing that, you know, things do evolve, places change, places close down, places reopen. You know, I think there's a long-standing gag in our house, and I think we sort of, every time we come home from a holiday, we always go for an Indian. And we go for get Indian takeaway, because actually we've never really found, apart from going to Sanaa, which is beautiful, we've never found really good Indian food in Florida.
No.
And so we're thinking, hang on, there's a bit of a niche market there.
Yeah.
And similarly, there's a lot of Chinese food that I'm quite partial to Chinese, but so many of them, again, when you look on TripAdvisor, they get so many bad reviews that you're thinking, I don't think we'll go to a Chinese buffet that looks really nice on the 192. We'll give that a miss tonight. And unfortunately, we actually found one. I had a friend that took us one night, and they thoroughly recommended this place, and it was the one with the green roof, not far away from Formosa Gardens.
Yeah,
and we got,
I know the one.
We got a takeaway there. It was beautiful, absolutely spot on. The next time we went, they knocked the place down. So it's just like, and that's how much places change. We've not talked about any of the Italian options. You know, there are
You
some
mentioned Olive Garden.
Yeah, but there's some really good proper pizza places. You know, but they change on a regular. You know, I don't know what it is that changes. I don't know if it's the menu. I don't know whether it's the chef, but it doesn't seem to be that.
I think there is an evolution of restaurants around that area, and if you go from, you know, the 192 east to west, what used to be there now isn't, and then you've got things like Bonefish Grill popping up. You've got Polo Tropical, and you know, the Joe's Crab Shack, which is a place that we used to go to.
I was about to say about Joe's.
We've been to recently and really had a dreadful meal, and we haven't been back since. So yeah, I think it's just this cyclical evolution of actually what the temperature is at the time. You know, what do people want to eat, and it will go in fads as well as anything else, any other fashions. I think that there is, you know, we didn't touch on Tony Romer's, the place for ribs on the International Drive. That used to be the place we went to in the 90s. It's still incredible. But last time we went there, it was flooded and the carpet was squidgy, so I didn't rush to go back. But you know, I think there is something for everyone. That's the bit that if you want chicken, you can go to Chick-fil-A, just not on a Sunday, and Chick-fil-A is incredible. There is if you like it, you can find the restaurant, and then none of them are more than 15 minutes away from the main attractions. So if you're going to get an Uber, it's completely doable.
Yeah, and equally, we've now got the means of checking out menus before you go, so you actually can decide. You can decide yourself before you arrive at the restaurant whether or not it's actually got what you really fancy. So you're not getting an Uber and then finding we're in the wrong place. I need to get another Uber. Make your mind up. Commit to where you're going, and also just look at the prices, because the cost saving is. I think we've said it before. It's ridiculous. You feel as if you're getting it for nothing, and that's. There's not many things in Orlando that you can say that about, is there? You know.
I think maybe on our next trips, what we should all do is we should do some dining reviews. We should review some of these places that we've mentioned tonight.
Yeah,
definitely. I'll review McDonald's. I'll take one for the team.
We go to Miller's and have the zingers.
Oh, I'm going to go to Miller's.
Yeah,
like that's happening. And honestly, I really want to try Chewy's and that like chicken thing that you described. That sounds
the Elvis Presley memorial plate.
Yes. Sounds good.
Really good.
I think for our next trip, we'll be refreshing the Uber app and taking Claire's email address with us.
And actually, with Chewy's, if you sign up before you go, they'll send you a coupon for a free queso. Just saying. Save yourself $5.
And if anybody's actually listening to this podcast who works for any of the aforementioned shows that we've spoken favourably,
we are happy.
We will gladly accept anything. Just remember our brand new website address, or you can actually email at waffleon@gbmickeywaffle.com, and we will get back to you, and we'll arrange times where we can come and do what Ben said, and we can come and test your food, and we take any
it live. Yeah, absolutely. We can but try, John. We can try.
Well, you never
We
know.
might end up with a Denny's mug.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd be good with that. I like
I
a
may
mug.
already have one of them. They're like the salt and pepper on Virgin Atlantic, aren't they?
Has it got like stolen from on the
From
bottom?
Denny's. So,
Yeah.
yeah, half-inch from Denny's.
Yeah.
I'm more intrigued by now the Virgin Atlantic salt and pepper shakers, Claire. I wouldn't ever have taken any of them home with me.
No, I'm sure you wouldn't.
No, never. Never.
Never, ever, ever.
We didn't.
Never-
We should have.
never have
but we
I ever.
didn't.
Never have I ever stolen the salt and
Well
pepper
done,
shakers.
We do have a little memento from the Disney Magic that we did pay for, but which apparently do go walkies a lot, which is the butter knives from Artist Palette.
Oh, the ones that are paintbrushes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
They're really gorgeous
So,
little butter knives. And we did buy ours, but yes, apparently they do go walkies a lot.
I'm not surprised.
Virgin Atlantic
Hang on.
cutlery in upper class is metal cutlery, and it's imprinted with VA. Interestingly, we use some at Christmas.
We used to have a collection of aeroplane blankets.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not the only one that doesn't steal things.
Guys,
Well, to be fair,
Steal
they
it.
Lloyd was telling us everything about it. That
I
rug
don't know
from
what happened to
Grand
them all.
Floridian.
we've got a whole other show that we can
Oh, things you've nicked.
Things
from
that we
airlines. That
No,
sounds like a
things
Wednesday.
we've borrowed.
souvenirs.
Yeah.
Souvenirs from holidays.
Free souvenirs.
Souvenirs.
Coming soon to a Wednesday night near you.
Well, we all know pens are going to be on that list.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
Walt Disney World pen.
There's one.
Yeah,
I think we've got Doubletree
one.
ones.
We've got a Doubletree one somewhere.
Yeah.
this is it.
We've got
Oh, I think we
napkins.
should talk about that.
The
You got that
contemporary.
napkin from the bathroom.
The contemporary.
Do you know what the this sounds awkward. The napkins from Virgin Upper Class are canvas. They're material, and they've got a little hole in them, so that if you're a businessman in a suit or a businesswoman in a suit with a shirt, you can put the button of your shirt through the napkin and then spread it out so it doesn't cover you. My parents have got a whole stack of them because my dad used to do a lot of flying on Virgin, and
We'll
yeah, they
Bring
probably-
some back.
We've got those.
We've got those.
What are they?
Beer
John?
mats. Beer mats.
Dinner.
Yes, but
No, the Disney
Yeah.
ones.
Disney ones.
I haven't got any of those.
oh, we've got
We'll send
loads.
you
We've got
some.
loads.
I got there's
We've got the
Walt Disney
appetite,
World
yeah.
one.
You know what? I'm taking this as a challenge. What is the best free souvenir
What's the
you
best
can
thing
acquire?
that we can get?
Oh, I like that one. Yeah,
There we go. Sand Pearl in Clearwater.
this is great.
Oh wow! See, I've only got all Disney World ones.
Yeah.
Raglan
sounds-
Road.
This is great. So here's the
This is
challenge
the
for us all.
challenge.
What can you steal?
What can you steal next
No,
time?
not steal.
No.
Not steal. We didn't steal.
Take without
We don't
asking.
steal, borrow.
Things that fall into your handbag are fair game.
Right.
All into your handbags.
Yeah.
I came back from holiday and I just found it. It was just there. I don't know what happened. Officer, honest.
It's like,
It's
it's
like
like that game,
the
isn't
lamp
it?
from Grand Floridian.
And you
Yeah.
can't
Just fell into my bag.
It's like that game. I
Oh, yeah,
went to
well-
Disney Springs and I got
Yeah.
Instead of all I got was this lousy T-shirt, all I got was
list.
Yeah.
we need to do like a conveyor belt like generation game before we come back with.
That was such a good idea.
Or we should do it
Toy.
and we have some random stuff on there. It's like, what did we get from where?
Yeah.
I think we can
Might
do this.
take some of the cutlery on the upper class.
Oh, thanks everyone. There's some really good advice and some new places to try on our next trips, that's for sure. I think we might also need to supplement this discussion next month, though, and have a bit of a waffle about the Disney dining plan as well. Don't know what you think, but is the dining plan worth it? Let's touch upon that. Maybe upon that planning conundrum of all time, that is it actually free? Just a suggestion, but hey, keep in tune with us. That might be May's show. You heard it here first. As always, if you want to mention or you just want to get in touch with us, we're always delighted to hear from you through our socials or on our brand new website, www.gbmickeywaffle.com. He says again. Plus, if you want to email us, you can do so. I already said it once tonight because it's such a great email address, and it's waffleon at GB Mickey Waffle. And just as always, thanks for listening. And we'll be back on all of those occasions that we spoke about earlier. Wednesdays at 8 p.m. UK time on YouTube and on Facebook. Third Friday of every month. So April the 16th is the next one when our Wafflers Assemble Live returns. And we also have our mid-month podcast too. Big Fat Panda joined us in March, and what a show that was. Our April mid-month one will feature all three of the After Hours team, and I can assure you that is not to be missed. It really isn't. So that just leaves just one thing to say to everyone. Thanks for joining me tonight, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we're all going to say it together. Waffle.